Welcome to another thing of part-time rambles, where you get to listen to me ramble on about my opinion, my take on things. So, real quick, I want to try and be more concise in these videos and um, keep them under around 15 minutes and under. So I'm gonna try to do better on staying on point. Um, Today, what I really want to talk about is uh, I want to talk about incels, and I want to talk about like the reasons they think they're an incel, or the reasons they identify as an incel, compared to the reasons people think they are, or what I think is contributing to it. Um, Also, yesterday when I made the video, "Are Incels Real?" I I was trying to have a discussion with you guys on what you thought and why. But in that video, I kind of, I guess I could be seen as condescending. And looking back, like, I'm not going to apologize for my opinions or my takes if I stand by them. But if I'm going to ask you to have a discussion, I can't be really, uh, I would almost, I don't think I was laughing at you. Not that intention, just like in my head, the reason why I thought it was so funny is because you're probably not as bad as you think you are. That's the end. Like you're not as bad as you think you are. And uh, I think with some time and a different approach or some effort, um, it can be easily fixed. And it's more of like a mentality or a decision. Now, to like even with me saying that, I do want to listen and hear what you guys think and different tastes because um, it's just it's your perception, how you experienced it. Well, this has been going on for a long time. It's relatively new, uh, as in like it's the research around it. There's not a lot. Um, its popularity recently due to like these other communities, the red pill community, black pill, um, just and the internet. Things have changed. So mainly what I want to talk about is I looked at a study, and the reason I looked at a study is because I just needed to understand what incels actually are and how we determine that, how they categorize it, um, and looking at the research, um, my definition that I was using for incels is too narrow. I was thinking incels were like people with no relationship skills, virgins. But you can be an incel and have been in a relationship. You can be an incel and not be a virgin. It's just being not sexually active for a long period of time. And then I want to say adopting the mentality because like I don't identify as an incel, but I would say there's been a period of time, uh, or there has been a period of time where I wasn't sexually active, but I wouldn't clarify or clarify, as an incel. So I think it's interesting that, like, if you've gone through the experience before, why, why do you think you can't do it again? But then again, I saw some takes that the idea is that the woman is to blame. It's their fault. They've become more entitled. They're shallow. Um, they're hypersexual. And like, I really want to. I think I'm going to talk about. Um, I want to take that perspective. I want to talk about their perspective. I mean, I'm a man. How could I have their perspective? But I do want to try to talk about theirs. But that'll be something else. Um, when I'm looking at that, and I'm like, okay, that you're saying all women are too entitled. So like, you're zero. You're like, you're saying you can't. It's too hard for you. You can't do it. You're going to blame it on all women are. It's this new feminist wave. It's this new um, entitlement. They can work now. They don't even think of us as human. I don't think that's true. Um, But to reference the study, it's interesting. The going back as far as I think I want to say that this paper, I'm going to cite it in the description below. But going as far back as like the 1970s, there's been talk about this incel talk and that and and the and like how it picked up. This kind of picked up around the same right that women's rights and feminism started to become popular. Um, the men's rights and stuff. It was all a it's kind of like it's what came after it came in response. So the whole like incels and men versus rights came at the height of feminism or like the initial start of women's rights. And similar to like, the all lives matter to Black Lives Matter. Now, that's one of the can of beans. I don't agree with BLM either, but the response is ridiculous. But that's another that's another topic. Uh, it's similar. But it's similar to that. They're a response. It was a response to one thing, and I think that's interesting because it's like okay, because some other people who felt oppressed started voicing out their concerns, and then you thought they took it too far. We respond with, "No, you guys are actually the oppressors." And both sides feel like they're being oppressed by the other. I just think it's interesting where we end up in a cycle of it's your fault, no, it's your fault, and just fighting, kind of like Democrats and Republicans, men and women, uh, religious, non-religious. It's like we turn everything into a battle where we don't even try to understand each other, um, and nothing can own. Okay, not nothing. There's some things can be 100% one person's fault or somebody's fault or whatever, but usually that's not the case. It's a mixed. It's mixed. Accountability should be shared. So I can see a world where okay, women are just too entitled and da da da, and they have so many options. It is a real thing that women have a lot of options. Uh, uh, there are I don't even know. I don't even know if they're realistically more sexual. They're more open about it for sure, but I don't know if they might have always been this sexual. Like they're just able to share it now. Um, so but like just these things, or it's to say like, oh, that is the issue, and I'm like, all of them? You think all women are just entitled, um, or so much in fact that it's just like maybe you don't want to be like, oh, okay, obviously it's not all of them. Okay, what percentage? Because obviously you're saying the percentage is big enough that it's stopping you from getting in a relationship because there's so many of them, and then it's like, okay, well, all the good ones are taken. Another thing, the again, this was stuff in the article that they mentioned, and I've even seen some of this in other videos or comments, sharing this belief of like, okay, it's feminism, it's these new rights, it's hypersexuality, um, and then I referenced the red pill quite a bit, and the article references the red pill as well, um, but not as much as the black pill. And I'm not too informed on the black pill, but from my understanding, it's just like the belief that basically women date men for these reasons, and the reasons being um basically like physical attraction. Like a woman is always going to go towards a man with those features. If you're short and you have a weak build, it's impossible. You pretty much there's no way. It's almost like that it's predetermined. And then they back it up with there is scientific research backing up their claims, but it's handpicked, it's cherry picked because and the research usually is uh not indicative of the whole population, but they'll use that to say it is. Uh, so I think that's interesting because I can see like 100%, like I'm not gonna lie to you, being attractive is gonna get you more. It's gonna get you more in general. You could be a dick as long as you're attractive, and this goes for both sides. I mean, guys just care less in general. I don't even think they care if you're ugly, but um, definitely, definitely for like for men, the hotter you are, better looking, the more better looking, it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier for you. But just to point that out doesn't make it like, okay, yeah, they are more likely, but the rate that they are going to hit more than you is not significant enough to warrant like pretty much the acceptance that like I was never going to do it. Like for me to do it, and I was really surprised because um the black pill actually also has issues with people being like wanting surgery to like fix these features. And I'm like, what? Like, you're pretty much just not physically happy with yourself, and you think you're never going to be good enough, and you're acknowledging that like I this would help, but there's nothing you can do about it. But a lot of the reasoning, like the conclusion for the ideology is, oh, I don't have wasn't born like this, or I'm not like this, I'm not charismatic, so like it's going to be like this. I don't have this facial structure, so I can't get this. To say to like that's to be self-defeating is already like it's not going to help. It's not going to help your situation. It's not true. So I understand where the feelings are coming from, but I don't agree. Right? So like I don't agree with like your conclusion that like okay, I it was always going to be like this. I can't do this. I don't think that's true. Um, they in the research they were able to grab they kept regarding to like okay, I guess they hate the stereotypical like the Chads or the Stacys, um and like how they're the betas and they're subservient. They got a group of incels and self-claimed incels and just asked them a bunch of questions. I think what was interesting was they're saying that the reason incels become such a big topic is because of the violent incidents that of self-claimed incels have done, which is concerning. But I think the vast majority of incels are mostly online, saying saying some edgy shit. I don't think the majority of you guys are fucking trying to hurt each other or hurt other people. Um, and they also talked about um, so like the reasons why they believe themselves not to be valid. Um, to the dating, like why women don't see them attractive. And some of these issues look like, let's see, they put in categories of masculinity challenges. So then like, okay, so when you're looking at that, and the average man in this, the average age was like 23 for this study. And pretty much like it was a basically you're trying to prove your masculinity and they didn't feel comfortable like physically um or like financially just not able to keep to be valid in the dating pool. So they usually take themselves out because they don't feel that they fit what the market wants. Um, they also said that 50% of them thought they were subhuman or treated like subhuman. They don't think they're subhuman, they just think they're treated like less than a human because, hey, I'm not a man, I'm a loser because I'm not average height or I don't have this muscular build. I'm not even seen as a man, I'm seen as a boy. And I think that's society does put a lot of pressure on men to be men. As much as people want to say like, oh, this and that, the social pressure of like if you don't meet those qualifications, you're so much less, even to other men, that it's like, where are you supposed to go? I think that's fair to feel that way. Um, I don't think you should accept it. 9 out of 10, like, or I don't even know how many they interviewed, but nine, uh, 9 people believed in the black pill. So like the black pill was basically like, no matter what you do, it wasn't gonna happen. Like that's interesting to me. And the fact that so many self-claimed incels believe in that makes me think like, I don't think you always believe that, but there's a reason you're saying this. and you feel this way, and the fact that it correlates with you guys not finding relationships or sexual relationships, uh, I think you guys should look into that. Depression is another thing they might think correlates. Now, I don't want to. There's not enough research. I don't want to assign mental illness to a group of people because they feel a certain way, especially when they don't even think depression is the issue. I wouldn't go that far. And then shit posting, which is also interesting that they included that. But basically, they're saying that you guys will go, or incels like to use the internet to create this masculinity that they feel like they don't have by being dominant on the internet. Uh, I don't think that's what you guys think you're doing, but I do think it has the same effect. Um, but my whole point in saying this is I really want uh, I really want to talk about why we feel and think the way we do, and how we come to those conclusions. If you're a self-claimed incel and you're listening to this, or you're saying it's all the woman's fault, can you acknowledge that it's not all their fault? And honestly, the study even does say it was a small sample size, and that that so many and some incels are so different than others, but also they couldn't get like the most aggressive ones to come on. So uh, there is a varying of opinion. You guys aren't all hive mind. You guys have different ideas of what being an incel is, and your reasons for it. Some people do think it's all them, and some other incels think it's all the woman. And I think what's interesting is in both thought process, it's all one party. I do think it's a mixed bag, whether it's society, whether it's the woman, whether it's the man. I think um, everybody has some fault in it because of our miscommunication. Um, I also do have to think we like, and here's something I'm going to say, like being rejected and the social pressures and not doing this and being the being scared of being a virgin or not sexually experienced. These are all real things that I think a lot of people struggle with. Even I struggle with. I feel like some of those things. So it's like I don't think you should take that as like I want to say I don't think you should be taking rejection so personal. And I think it's like I don't even like getting rejected, right? Nobody likes getting rejected. Okay. And um, I used to do these things like I think the approach, like, man, how do I say this? I want to help, okay? And the fact that you guys aren't finding relationships or think you can't find them will always be something I don't understand. Uh, but I can't understand being so scared of rejection that you end up not getting with anyone and then thinking that like it's always going to be that way. For example, I don't like getting rejected. So if I'm interested in someone, I might I test the waters a lot, which ends up being like a lot of beating around the bush. Uh, Whereas, being blunt means, oh, I'm either going to get a yes or a no. You can kind of get a feeling. That's how I feel. Now, I wouldn't recommend this because some people might think they get the wrong feeling, and then I'm more on the safe side. I'm not going to assume. Eventually, I will just ask. But I think I think if you need to be okay with taking rejection and also just not taking it personal, because just in my case, I think in my personal experience, my approach has always been friends first, find out the other stuff later. And I know a lot of people think guys and girls can't be friends. And I argued this for a long time, even when I was younger. But in my personal experience, unless they're like taken by like a friend or something, all my friendships with girls have kind of faded. Like if we're not doing something, if we're not intimate, it's like it's not like a real friendship that continues on. There's a couple cases where I mean, it has been the case where it stayed that way, but overwhelmingly, like even like some of my closest friends that were girls eventually just faded off. Um, and so it's hard to argue that when even my personal experience differs from that. But um, like I do think being more like I'm not ever gonna back away from that approach of being like I genuinely want to get to know the person, but that's how I am. I don't really like sure like I- I'm not getting into it. I'm not gonna get into that. I just think you should genuinely when you meet someone. I treat girls just like I treat dudes. I'm gonna be honest. It is what it is. Um, because I do believe you can be friends with them. Now, if I was to gain an interest in those same people, and then let's say they're kind of sending signals, but I'm like, oh no, I don't want to assume this, and like we're already just friends, so it's this and that, and then years later they're like, yo, why didn't you ask me out? And I'm like, what? Why would I ask you out? We were friends. We didn't do, but I was giving you all these signals. I'm like, I thought that's just because we were friends. Um, but like the reason I'm thinking like that is because of a past experience I had where now I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna fuck that up again. I'm just gonna do this, and then I'm not gonna assume anything. Uh, I'll know when I know. But in reality, I still think being genuine and just being friends first is the way to go. But instead of if I think something and if I'm personally interested, I think from now on, I'm just gonna say I'm interested. And then if the answer is no, the answer is no. We can still be friends. Now, usually the main problem with doing that is you're like, oh, it kind of fucks up the friendship. Um, but at this point, like I think I think it's better to be able to have those conversations and go through that rejection and see how that experience goes, rather than keeping back because then you lose out on opportunities that you would have had before. And again, it's like rejection's not so bad. Like I I can't say rejection isn't bad because even I avoid it. But like I don't think we should be afraid of it. I think we should push towards going through experiences like that and not taking it so personally. Um, I want to talk on this more actually. I don't want this channel to become me talking about just incels and this female male thing right now. But as the discussion ramps up and if I have more takes on it, I'll do more takes. I am going to do, I think, something else. I want to come more. I came from this from an incel perspective on why you guys thought the way you thought. Um, again, I'll post the research down below, but I can even understand on why you guys feel the way you do or why you do the things the way you do because I've felt that way. And I'm not hating women or anything, but like the reason why you're coping or having this mechanism or blaming women or I understand where that's coming from. Uh, and that's why I wanted to hit it to see if I could hit it from your perspective. But I also want to do another video talking about specifically rejection and the female's perspective. How can a man do a female's perspective? At least I'm going to try to give my perspective on what I think their perspective is and why they do the things they do. And if you start to understand why they're doing the things they do and how they do it, you might take it less personally. Um, thank you for listening. If you've gone this far, I appreciate you for watching. If you want to see more content, and you liked what you saw, we have a part-time kids channel. I'll put the description below. We also have our podcast, which is the videos are on this channel, but if you want audio only, you can go to Spotify and just search um, part-time rambles, or that will also be in the description below. We also stream. You can go to my stream down there, um, twitch.tv/stuffums. Um, Other than that, that's all I have to say. If you disagreed with anything I said today in this video, please go ahead and leave some comments down below. I would like to see how far off my perspective is compared to yours, or if I'm right there with you. Also, I'm going to start putting songs of the day below, um, just songs that I like that make me feel better, and I think it'd be cool to share that with you guys. All right, bye.